So let's just talk quickly about the app itself and to give you some background. I think it's really important to understand what you're using and how it works, what it can do and what it can't do, and how your information is used in this time. Your privacy is really important, as well as understanding how artificial intelligence can be used in good and bad ways. And this way, I think it's a good way. It can help us get our work done, maybe a little bit more efficiently. So what the Iberian Scribe AI does is it helps you to read these historical Iberian manuscripts page by page. It does image reviewing, hand style guidance, transcription, translation, and it's all in one workplace. And in essence, this section tells you about how it works. The most important thing here is to understand the technical approach. So the AI uses a multi-staged inference workflow with in-context few-shot exemplars. So what does that mean? What it means is this is a platform for assembling and preparing the information in a way, your manuscript, images, for analysis by the AI engine, by the Gemini AI model. And multimodal inference, what we're doing here in multi-stages, each step of the way we're working with AI systems to help us work through it. So first we have to do is, does the image need to be cleaned up in the manuscript? Should it be lightened, darkened? Should the contrast change so the machine can read it a little bit better? Because humans and machines look at documents differently. The second thing it needs to do is another multi-stage piece, another stage, is then the AI has to look at the letters itself and consider, well, what are those? Is that lettering from the 11th century or is that lettering from the 16th century? Here, this is where the issue of in-context few-shot exemplars comes into place. What's an exemplar? Well, an exemplar really is just an example of a really good image of a manuscript from a certain time period, also with a transcription. And those are our examples up here. These are the ones we've collected from manuscript transcription, manuscript text, as well as projects that are exceptional examples of good transcriptions. And so what happens then is after the AI has taken in the image, processed it to make it more readable for the machine, and two, has identified the writing style, or if you've changed it and said, no, it's not really 15th century, it's 14th century, then the last part of the process, before we get to the transcriptions, we're going to send all this information up to the AI and say, okay, here it is. I'm going to give you some guidance. Here's some few shot examples, some related examples that will help you evaluate the text, the manuscript you're looking at as you're generating a transcription. And so this is how we can kind of, in some ways, we're not fine-tuning a model. All we're doing is just giving the AI some bits and pieces. We're giving it some hints of how to work with it. So that's what's really important to appreciate it about the app. You can learn more about how it's organized, but basically the key pieces are the Workbench, where you're working with individual folios. Batching is where you're working with multiple folios. The examples I just mentioned, these are embedded inside the application. This is why the application is so large, because they're large image files that preserve the examples of original manuscripts from artifacts and manuscripts from antiquity till the 19th century. Also, we have the Mind Transcription section, which stores all your transcription. I'll just mention, again, the Learn section is the most important one, and this is where you can really practice your paleographic skills. And then we have some other tools that are embedded into it, but I wouldn't worry about these right now. These are more advanced functions, and you can always reach out to me to discuss them. The APIs, remember, is where we actually integrate the API key into the mechanism so it can actually do the processing. And again, just to remind you, why do we need the API key? Well, this is why. The app uses an external AI API key because the handwriting analysis, etc., rely on these large language models to actually do the work. So the app that we're working inside of, that we've created, it's an interface that organizes a workflow, but the actual AI reading and text generation steps are performed by connected model service. It means like all that's being processed up in the cloud, separate and not on your computer itself. And then these are the different models. I think one of the key pieces that I always worry about is this going to break the bank? And then generally what we're finding is it's pennies on the dollar to process a page. And that's to take it from the beginning to the end, from enhancing the image, identifying and generating the transcription, as well as all the way to the abstract. Some practical guidance that you can look over about which models to use. If you're using a free model, just keep in mind that free models, your data can be used by Google to train its apps. So I always recommend creating a paid key, and that can be done straight from inside the Google API. The Google API console, which if you need to go back and look at that video. And lastly, I would just mention that we're creating this through the Plus Ultra Collective. We're a nonprofit research group based here in the United States, but have members from the United States, Latin America, Europe, the Middle East, as well as Asia. And we're just a bunch of scholars playing with technology and the service of the humanities. You can learn more about us. And if you want to support the project, we'd love you to do that. You can learn more about us. The great thing about donating to us is actually, if you do that, it's a tax deductible contribution. So you can donate us, $5, right? $5, and you're going to get a tax receipt for that, and you can declare that in your taxes. So you can help us out, but it's not necessary. We're happy just to share it with you. Okay. Well, thanks so much for learning about the project. And then if you want to stay up to date with us, register for updates here. And then also you can always just email me. Thank you.